the show. I wanted to start with Chelsea, just I know time-wise. I don't want to get through the opening bit, and then the Chelsea fans have got to shoot. What did you make of it this weekend? Have hope, because took the lead, but then collapsed, came back in the end. Talk to us.
To put it simply, Pochettino is a bomb. We have a loser in charge. That's the key thing. And I'm actually happy that suddenly that these fans are now actually coming around. So, but let's keep it clear, because we've got to keep it a stack, because Alex Goldberg, Korn, CFC Mod, all these guys there, these guys were all jumping up and down when we signed a loser to take charge. And Kate, you will know this guy specifically. This is the same clown who started a dude who had not played for 2 months in Tottenham's biggest game in their history. And he benched a guy who scored, in my opinion, the craziest hat-trick I've ever seen in a football game. He benched that guy because he did not have the balls to take the right decision, which is that put your star player on the bench, keep the same team, keep the same chemistry, and then if you're losing, Kane, come and help us win the game. For me, when he made that decision, I was like, oh, no, this guy is lacking something here. And I think that what Chelsea fans are seeing is Brentford are a team that is struggling. In that second half, we were completely outplayed. Completely and totally outplayed. Brentford should have won that game. What won the game was just Chelsea's individual brilliance. The goal by Nico Jackson came out of nowhere. The goal by Disasi, it just came out of just that individual play. But in terms of a structure of coaching, team is trash. But here's the thing, and this is what Chelsea fans have to accept here. Poch out, get rid of Poch. That's not the issue. The issue is those Claire Ocean idiots who own this club. Because these guys, they want a yes man. We had a chance to sign Nagelsmann. And Nagelsmann was hey, I'm one of the hottest young coaches out there. I've just been sacked by Bayern. I'm ready to take over. What do you want? We hesitated, blah, blah. He's like, okay, you're obviously not serious. I'm out. And then what do? We hire Pochettino. And why do we hire Pochettino? He's a yes man. Because the fact of the matter is, and Chelsea fans have to accept this, we are a glorified orphanage. It's a glorified orphanage. This is DiCaprio FC. It is DiCaprio FC. We have a 22 and under age policy of signing players. So once that is your policy, and once your policy isn't, because there's these guys, they're not about winning. They have turned us into a mid-table club. They're not about winning. They're no standards. They're not benchmarks. That's clown Pochettino. He's high-fiving guys and dapping guys up after you've just escaped with the draw against Brentford 2-2. So the standards have dropped, but I'm just happy that now, when you just look online, a lot of the big Chelsea voices are no, this is nonsense. I've been saying this before, that Chelsea have been trash under this guy all the way through.
I hear you on that, have hope. Don, and I know my manager's been doing this, so I want to try and stay away from the whataboutery, because we'll get onto United later. But the way Poch is talking, that things are good, the performances are there, people have got to be patient, he doesn't understand what the criticism's about. How delusional is this man right now? And I genuinely, because I read it and thought, no Chelsea fan is falling for that, surely.
Bro, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it, Terry. And then he complains, he's surprised that people are now booing him. I was at the game the other day against Brentford, and people were singing "Fuck Off Maurizio," bro. I was singing it loud, bro. Loud as making sure everyone around me singing as well. Let's all sing together. You know what I'm saying? Like choir. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy's not good enough. And he'll come out and he'll insult our intelligence, like you're saying, and say that he's happy with the performances. How can you be happy with what you're watching? Not once, Terry, have I seen accountability. Not once. Jackson's 22. He literally came out the other day. I don't know if you've seen the interview, Jackson. He spoke about his performances. He said, I'm young, still learning. I can do better in front of goal. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing myself. Yeah, I should have way more than the amount of goals I've got right now, because he's missed some big chances. How can a 22-year-old come out and be brave enough to show some accountability to the fan base? Right? Because if you remember, the fan base were onto Jackson early on in the season. Telling him, it's not good enough, coming off the pitch, he's arguing with guys, and he still has that accountability. Poch hasn't been good enough, and not once have I heard him speak about how bad he's been. You know what I mean? It's always, the circumstances, injury. there's this. You know, we haven't had enough rest. We haven't had enough this. There's always something else other than just you. Look at yourself and look at how you're underperforming. You have not been good enough. And that's why the fan base are now sick of it. Because it's like, bro, when we're not idiots, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've said this on a few streams already. We're not casuals. We're not there day to day. We don't train the team. But end of the day, we're not stupid, Terry. We've watched football long enough to know what this guy's doing, and he's making a lot of basic mistakes. Week after week, he decides to do something different. You know what I'm saying? Week after week after week. When do we ever play a back five, my bro? When do we ever play a back five? Thomas Frank literally came out a day before and said Brentford haven't got a single defender that starts for them week in, week out starting that game. That should have been alarm bells in your head to go and attack them and go for the kill. Brentford had 10 losses before we played them. 10 out of 12 losses before we played them. They already beat us at the bridge. Yeah, it was time for us to go there and go and now beat them. You know, right now when they're on their last legs. But we still couldn't do that. We were negative, bro. We were negative, and it goes from the manager. His mentality is not good enough. It is really not good enough, Terry. You know what I'm saying? So the quicker we get rid of this guy, the better. We've got an 8-day break now between our next game. Yeah, we've still got things to play for between now and the end of the season. Because funny enough, we could find ourselves back at Wembley again. I don't know how that's happened, but we can actually find ourselves back at Wembley. Last season, left it a little bit too late with Graham Potter. We can't do the same with Poch. We cannot carry on with this guy until the end of the season. Yeah, because the players right now, they're still playing for him because they've got a little bit of pride. They know that they're better than what's being showed right now. And like Havop has said, we score goals from individual moments. Individual little bit of brilliance is where we score from. But structurally, we are a mess, bro. Second half, I'm looking at the pitch here. It's very clear for me to see because Brentford is a small stadium. Very nice stadium, yeah? I'm seeing Gallagher playing right wing. I'm seeing Enzo Fernandez playing left wing. I'm seeing Caicedo left by himself in the midfield. In the first half, I saw Palmer right wing. Second half, all of a sudden, I'm seeing him playing as like a false nine. Then he's dropping in as a left winger. Then he's going into midfield. I was looking to Alex next to me like, what is going on with this structure? Everything's a mess. Absolute mess, bro. You know what I mean?
So I just say, I actually want to even ask this to Kate because let's just sort of dispel this myth. My view, I'm just going off what Don said, my view is Pochettino, yeah, he contributed to that UCL run. But in my view, I felt that UCL run was much more about individual brilliance instead of excellent tactical, strategic execution from Pochettino. So in your view, that UCL run, was it? No. The individuals showed up. Like, Pochettino just sets like a basic blueprint, but it wasn't about his tactics. Like, for Fergie and I tried, but it's his tactics. Pep, it's his tactics. For that thing, it wasn't really Pochettino's tactics. The blueprint was there. Individuals executed and showed up.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's one of those ifs, buts, and monkey nuts that we'll never know the answer to. But I do think had he been brave enough to not play Kane in the final, played Mora, and made that decision, then it could have been a different outcome because Liverpool were there for the taking that game. But like I say, it's something we'll never know. But there was questionable tactics when he was with us. His in-game management was questionable at times. His subs were awful. So, yeah, I get it. I get Chelsea fans' frustration. I think if it was still the Abramovich era, he'd have been gone weeks and weeks and weeks ago. But
you know what's so weird about it as well, Kate? Yeah, what's so weird about Terry before you come in? Yeah, you would have thought that this guy just started managing last week, bruv. This guy's been managing for a long time. I expect a lot. I expect more from a manager that came to the country when he couldn't even speak English, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? I expect more from this manager, bro.
I hear what Rory. We know Poch is making mistakes. Is there issues, though, with the personnel as well? Because the execution from certain individuals still isn't there. Is it as simplistic as just sacking Poch in your view?
No, it's never been as simplistic as sacking the manager and moving on. We've seen that with multiple managers in a row. I think the reality is, yeah, now they've got an average manager, but they're an average group of players. And they're mid-table, and they've been there for 2 years now. Like, I think there's a bit of a reality check, probably, in that it does. You know, you could bring in a better manager, but there's still going to be the same group of players that are just not that good, in my opinion. So you know, average manager, average players, average performances, average place in the table. I don't look at it as you go, you know, who do you bring in? Who do you bring in that's going to turn around a lot of those players? Where, you know, Chelsea fans jump between players that they blame for the performances. There are very few players that Chelsea fans sit there and say, oh, he's brilliant, week in, week out. You know, I'd say that outside of maybe Cole Palmer, maybe Caicedo's been getting a little bit more love recently. Outside of that, I don't think even Chelsea fans believe. Yeah, Gusto's probably the one player that most rival fans would actually take at their club. I don't think even Chelsea fans look at their squad and think, yeah, you know, X, Y, or Z manager can get anything out of this team. So, yeah, there are. Well, I don't even know what the solution is. I genuinely have no idea what the solution is.
No, I think no. Rory is fully right. Like Rory is fully right. I'll go to Don. The issue here, and Don, you have to agree with this, is that the damage has already been done. Because when you're recruiting players, you don't just recruit talented players. You have a system. What players with what characteristics fit into their system? So with Arteta, it took a long time, but with Arteta was that I have an idea. Over these years, I want him, because he has the characteristics. He has the characteristics. We had a scattergun approach. Oh, he's hyped. Bring him in. Oh, he's hyped. Bring him in. Wait, okay. I know he's hyped. What is your philosophy? Does he fit into the philosophy? Maybe Enzo and Caicedo don't work together. Because if you had a manager with a clear philosophy, he'd say, sorry, Caicedo's characteristics and Enzo's characteristics, they don't mesh well. They're both talented, but for what I need in my midfield, their characteristics do not mesh well. But we just had like, oh, he's talented, he's 21, bring him in. But if you don't have a philosophy, chemistry is the most important thing in football, more than talented players. So if you don't have chemistry, what are you doing?
You haven't got the foundations. And Rory, listen, if you look at our team, yeah, listen, me and Hope have grown up on some world-class players, yeah? If I go through the players that I've seen watching Chelsea, I'll be here all day, right? And that's the reason why we've won so many trophies. We can acknowledge that a lot of these players are not Chelsea level right now, yeah? But one thing that rivals fail to acknowledge is that this manager hasn't been trying to get the best out of these players. He's been killing them, is the point that we've been making, right? That's where we have to come in and defend them, yeah? You can say these guys are overrated and whatnot, but this guy has not been competent enough majority.
Don, you can't say Don, you can't say that. I'm sorry. It isn't Pochettino's fault that Nico Jackson is missing 1v1s. That's not his fault. It's not his fault that Conor Gallagher missed it. Conor Gallagher missing 1v1. That's his fault. You can't put that on Poch. Conor Gallagher missed a 1v1.
I never said that's his fault, bro. The other day Palmer should have buried it. That's not on Poch. The other day when Enzo created for Jackson, that is not on Poch. That's on the players, yeah? But what I'm saying is the way we're set up doesn't allow the players to consistently keep attacking and keep creating. We can all acknowledge here that these men are not good in front of goal, bro. They're not good. But what it is, right? The way that we were set up the other day, Rory, like I said, bro, I was watching the first 15 minutes in the cab because I was late to the stadium, yeah? I'm seeing side to side. These lot are playing in a structure they're not used to, yeah? And then again, individual brilliance is what saved him, yeah? Mudryk against Newcastle when he came on, individual little bit of brilliance in the last minute saved him, right? If it wasn't for him, we would have gone to fucking extra time. You know what I'm saying? So these guys are not good in front of goal. We know that, right? But this guy, he has not been able to do the basics, bro. When you say, "Oh, what manager do you want?" Yeah, I've got a guy that I think will be good for the players that we've got, right now. Uncomfortable conversations, but like I've said, this manager has not been able to do the bare minimum. I look at him and the decisions that he makes. It's like he's never managed before. Is the point that I make.